We are also following a major reversal from President Trump. He is now postponing a series of immigration raids that were supposed to take place in 10 U.S. cities tomorrow. And we've learned he made this decision after a phone call with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Here's how the president explained his 180-degree turnaround on Twitter. At the request of Democrats, I have delayed the illegal immigration removal process, deportation, for 2 weeks to see if the Democrats and Republicans can get together and work out a solution to the asylum and loophole problems at the southern border. If not, deportations start. So just how effective was Pelosi? Well, just hours before that tweet, the president seemed determined to follow through with the raids.
These are people that came into the country illegally. They've been served, they've gone through a process of the courts, and they have to be removed from the country. They will be removed from the country. It's having a very big effect on the border. The fact that we're taking them out. The people that came into the country illegally are going to be removed from the country.
CNN's Paul Verkaman is live for us in Los Angeles, one of the 10 cities that had been bracing for these raids. Paul, what's the reaction there?
Well, Anna, it's both relief and then extreme cynicism. You may have heard that the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, was out in front. He had been tweeting about this. He had called these alleged or proposed raids inhumane, despicable. And then the sense of relief in that they're not going to go through. We had seen a lot of activists who were on the street today preparing to help people in any way possible. And a group of young activists in particular, they had said that they'd long expected Trump to use these threatened raids as just a measure of political grandstanding.
We've seen this from the Trump administration since the day he announced him running his campaign in 2016. He's been doing this to feed the trolls, to feed his supporters, to let them know that he's doing something about the quote-unquote immigration problem. It's just part of his MO, even into his presidency.
And one thing, these activists were going out and they were passing out these red cards. And what they were doing is trying to get the word out as wide as possible to any undocumented immigrants that under their Fifth Amendment rights, they had the right to remain silent if they were confronted by a federal agent. And that also under the Fourth Amendment, they did not have to let anybody into their home unless that person had a signed search warrant with their name on it. That was disseminated so wide, the LA Unified School District, which has about 700,000 students, had put that very same card on its website, Anna, so they were prepared.
Okay, now 2 weeks, and we'll see where this goes. Paul Verkaman, thank you. I talked to Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti earlier today, shortly after the president announced he was postponing this immigration roundup. Garcetti had already said he wouldn't allow the Los Angeles police force to assist with the raids, and he'd work to protect undocumented immigrants in his city. Here's how he reacted to the president's surprise reversal.
I'm glad that there's families here in Los Angeles and around the country that can sleep a little easier tonight. They don't have to worry about when they're at church or maybe having a barbecue leading up to the 4th of July weekends to be able to wonder whether their parents will be taken away, whether their grandparents won't be there. But, you know, this is really the weakness and failure that we've seen of this president to produce anything when it comes to immigration. There are common sense solutions out there. There are mayors like myself who every single day deal with the integration of immigrants, policing our streets effectively with incredible police officers. But what we saw here was a welcome backing off. I find it ironic in a week in which the president also backed off in Iran because he said he didn't want to potentially have the collateral damage of 150 lives in a foreign country, that he still has this threat to 1 million residents who are taxpayers here still hanging over their heads. It's just delayed for a couple weeks.
He says he's doing it at the request of Democrats. Do you buy that?
It may be the reason I thank Speaker Pelosi for her activism and a lot of us who are raising our voices. These aren't just random people. These aren't individual people. These are often the parents of U.S. citizen children. We are pro-family here in Los Angeles and in cities across the country. That's why we don't believe in not only dividing the American people, but dividing families. 63% of my new businesses on the main streets of my city are opened by immigrants, many of them undocumented, who like my grandfather, who was undocumented, probably at the time, an immigrant who came from Mexico during war when his father was killed, they yearned for the American dream. He became a veteran, he fought in World War II and earned his citizenship, and we have those same American stories living on our streets. So I hope the president can listen to them like he did when he heard from the Dreamers, promised them he'd do something, and he can act and not hold all those pieces hostage for a wall that he's been unable to build.
Coming up.